Sis, they won't even be able to understand. I heard a wise woman say once, while you're trying to figure it out, God has already indeed worked it out. What that basically means, y'all, and if y'all don't mind, okay, there is some music in the background because I'm out and about outside in like this little garden area, right? But I had to get a shot and talk to you girls from here. But honestly, girls, I feel like that's where a lot of us are right now. Like, while we're trying to figure it out, God has indeed already worked it out. I don't know about you, but in this season, that doesn't just apply just to you, right? What you believe God can do or what you don't believe He can do, right? But that also applies to those that are around you. They will not be able to understand what God is getting ready to do. And so, in other words, when I say, when we trying to figure it out, God has already worked it out. What that means is that people are going to try to think that they had you figured out. They're going to think that they thought that this is where you were going to be. They thought that your last season was where you're going to end up at, but God is indeed changing the story for you, right? Things are indeed shifting quickly, right? The things and the places where they thought that they left you for dead, you will not be there anymore, right? There is a place and there is a place mentally, right? Spiritually that God is ordaining you to come up to. And so what that basically means is that people are going to start asking questions like, how did she get that? How is she going there? When did she do that? How did she start doing that? How did she get to do this? How did she get to do that? How did she go there? She don't, I knew her in her last season. She don't have this and she don't have that. They're going to try to put you in the box that they saw you in this last season. But God is indeed about to break that record. I don't know how many females on here, how many sister you women on here, how many sister you girlies on here have been in a place where it feels like, God, man, I've been trying to figure it out on my own, but I upgraded when I stopped trying to figure it out and when I started to put my eyes and my focus in on you and what you said, God. It's something about when we decide to shift our focus from trying to figure out things to just going with whatever God has said, right? And a lot of times, y'all, it will not make sense to the natural eye, right? It will not make sense to your family. It will not make sense to your friends. It will not make sense to even you sometimes, but you must go. This is the season and the time where God is demanding obedience. He's always demand that out of us, but especially now, it is imperative that we walk in the place of obedience versus just sacrifice, right? The word says obedience is better than sacrifice. I wonder why. Because although you may have sacrificed something that you like, God could be asking you for a whole nother thing, but yet fear can cripple you. And so God knows exactly what you need to give up. He knows exactly what you need to walk into. He knows exactly what areas you need to be obedient in. And so with that, you begin to learn to be more obedient than you are sacrificial, because you understand that in obedience, God can back up obedience. Because if He told you to leave that man alone, or He told you to put down that cup, or He told you, hey, stop talking to those people, stop dealing with those connections, I'm trying to pull you away from that, and you continually engage in it, but you stop talking to them just a few days. But that's not what God told you to do. God told you to completely cut ties, but you're still communicating. God told you to put it down and not go back there, but you're still picking it up. He told you to go and sin no more, but we're still doing it. Like, there's something about being obedient. You can sacrifice, right? Sacrifice is so much so of like, okay, I can sacrifice this $100, but if God told you to give 1,000, then that means that although you are sacrificing 100, that's not what God told you. And so in obedience, you must realize that obedience is not just a good idea, and it's not what we can personally think that we think it is, right? Obedience is exactly what God said, not in a little way, not in a slight way, right? Not doing just a little bit of it and then stopping, right? But it is indeed consistency and following through. And so with obedience, God will demand of you of the full obedience of what He's called you to. And so I want to just bring some few points to you guys. Is that that's the first thing, is that people are going to try to case you in this next season because they won't know which way you're going to be, and thought the last season that you were going to be doing something else, and in this season God's going to switch it up, and He's going to be like, it's going to be like a whammy effect. Like, they won't be able to have the knowledge and the understanding to fully take mentally what God is getting ready to do and what God has already started to do in you, right? I want to just remind you that, baby, if God sends you to a place, if God orders your steps, if you are indeed a woman or a man of God that is walking in obedience, obedience, God will order your steps. I don't care what it looks like. Baby, if God told you to do it, you better walk into it, because even though it may seem small to you and that obedience may seem like little small steps, but you've got to realize that even the small steps and the small things that He's told you to do, you've got to understand that it is a part of a bigger picture. And that when you realize that it is obedience that God answers to, right? He doesn't always answer to our sacrifice, because sacrifice can be based off of what we just want to give. But in obedience, He stretches us beyond just what we can do physically, right? And so I want to just encourage you today that you've got to remember that obedience is better than sacrifice, right? You've got to understand that the things that God wants to do, He wants to blow your mind, but not even just your mind, but He wants to blow the people around you mind. You've got to understand and be okay with the fact of people not understanding, like people not getting it. You have to be okay with not being able to go to your regular friend group and your regular people that you would go to and lean on, that you were comfortable in, right? To be able to talk to about this new place where God is bringing you, because sometimes people don't have the mental capacity to take it because they are not there themselves. And so sometimes you have to be the one to go and start it. You have to be the one to begin to get the mind shift. You have to be the generational curse breaker. And so with that comes a lot of pressure. With that comes a lot of assignment. With that comes not being like everybody else. Although everybody else want to go hang out and do this and do what we've always been doing, that will not fly. And so in this season, you might feel yourself a little isolated. You might feel yourself by yourself, but it is indeed not just to be just by yourself, right? God, when God appoints isolation, it is always to build you into the woman or the man of God that He's called you to be in. In this case, I'm talking to the women, but if some men of God are in here, definitely God is using this season where you feel like you've been pulling away from people and things and conversations and old methods and patterns. It's because God is trying to isolate you to build you into the woman or the man that God is calling you to be. So I just want to encourage you today, okay? And I want you to know that nobody and no thing can stop you when God has ordered your steps. There have been so many things, y'all, even in this last week of me being in ATL, y'all, like there's been so many things that tried to come up to try to distract me from what God has told me and what He showed me. But God has indeed lined even this trip up to this point. He's literally shown me that nobody, no thing, no situation can stop you from getting from where I'm calling you to be. He will bring whoever He needs to. He will provide whatever He needs to provide. He will make ways for whatever way He needs to make it. If He wants you in a certain place, if He needs you in a certain place, if He needs you walking in a certain time period, if He needs you walking in that business group, if He needs you walking in that friend group, if He needs you to start this and start that, God will indeed position you to be in the right place at the right time. It's no more being in the wrong place at the right time, but we are aligning and positioning ourselves in the Spirit to be where God wants us to be. Sis, I love you so much. And if this video added any type of value to you, I want you to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when we post on this channel. Sis, I love you so much. And until next time, we will have a part 2. But if you have not caught previous videos from this channel, go ahead and click that top card at the top of the screen, or click one of the videos that I suggest to you guys. I cannot wait to see who you become, sis. I love you. Until next time.